Hi, I am Jane Aragon, and together with my groupmate Ben Roque Perales, we will be presenting the research paper of Nadia Sajjad entitled Causes and Solutions to Intellectual Brain Drain in Pakistan. This presentation, we will be tackling the chapters 1 to 5 of the study, from the introduction, literature review, the methodologies, the results or findings, and finally, the conclusion. Let's start with the introduction. The migration of intellectual manpower from less developed countries to more developed countries is a widespread global phenomenon. This movement is notably prominent from poor and developing countries to rich and advanced nations. The recent wave of globalization has witnessed the flow of goods, services, capital, and highly skilled labor. According to recent studies, of the 59 million migrants in OECD, or Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development countries, 20 million are highly skilled, with South Asian countries, including Pakistan, being major contributors. Globalization trends reveal a significant influx of qualified skilled workers into developed countries. Incentive programs such as the H-1B visa program in the United States, highly skilled programs in the UK and Australia, and Germany's Green Card scheme for technology experts attract professionals from developing countries. Pakistan, facing the loss of skilled workers, offers high incentives to retain engineers, scientists, and other professionals. The phenomenon of brain drain poses economic and social challenges for developing countries like Pakistan. While remittances and brain circulation partially compensate for the outflow, a shortage of skilled workers remains a significant concern for industrial growth. A World Bank study identifies the shortage as a primary cause of poor industrial development. Now, this research aims to investigate the causes of intellectual migration, or brain drain, exploring measures to minimize its effects at the government and international levels. Findings of the study will contribute to future research and policy interventions. Now, I will be presenting the literature review of this study. The British Royal Society first coined the expression brain drain to describe the outflow of scientists and technologists to the United States and Canada in 1950s and 1960s. It is normally used as synonymous with the movement of human capital, where the net flow of expertise is heavily on one direction. For the phase one, which is the idea of brain drain from 1950s to 1960s, Grubel and Scott identified that developed and developing countries benefit in the field of science and technology. Pierre-Paolo Giannafollo found that with heavy outflow of qualified workers, the sending country is affected socially as well as economically. The outflow of scientists and the technologists was focused from Europe and primarily the UK to the United States and Canada. For instance, the reviews of effect of the Immigration Act of 1965 of the demographic characteristics of the USA. Meanwhile, Kanapan stated that the heavy outflow of skilled labor from poor countries impacts their economic potentials, especially when turning to productivity levels. According to Portes, initially brain drain was considered very harmful for the native countries. They claim that the situation exists because of the development of the North and the backwardness of the South. Now for the phase two, which is the idea of brain drain from the 1970s to the 1990s. Reviews by most scholars concluded that the term brain drain is not beneficial for the native country, while the host country gains benefits from the inflow of qualified workers. In this connection, the solution suggested is to implement migration policies to create and to fortify the role of the international organizations and institutions on the management of migration flows. During the 1970s, Brain drain was termed as the North-South or developing-developed issue. Literature shows that brain drain is a deteriorating factor to the welfare of the countries. In circumstances, Bhagwati proposed a brain drain tax. This tax should on one side reduce the high outflow, and from the other perspective, it should develop countries pay to the LDCs for draining their scientific and economical ills. For the phase three, which is the 1990 up until the date, a new trend turned as the new economics of brain drain emerged with the rapid advancement in globalization and growth in information and communication technology. It argued that under such circumstances, migration of professionals from developing countries may be a blessing and the potential gains could be higher than costs. Several new phenomena were introduced in this period with a view that migration perspective increases the attractiveness of educational investments in the sending economy, thus contributing to increased accumulation of human capital and faster growth. The Lucas effect of induced education by Benny et al., brain effect and Schniff, brain gain, were identified. Stark et al. Identified that the diaspora may return to their homelands, bringing social, physical, and human capital accumulated abroad, thus contributing to the economic development that is brain migration. Ghosh concluded that migrants transfer part of their income back to their sending countries. During the years, various terminologies concerning brain mobility arose. Lowell and Finlay mention these terms, which are the optimal brain drain, brain waste, brain circulation, brain exchange, brain globalization, and brain export. Optimal brain drain is the theory that is based on the hypothesis that some developing countries can benefit the right amount of skilled immigration. Meanwhile, brain waste is a term used in cases when highly skilled individuals are underemployed. Physicians working as taxi drivers are a good example of this phenomenon. The situation occurs in both the sending and receiving countries. Now, brain circulation. Brain circulation, it refers to the lively return migration of the native born. Returnees that resupply the highly educated population in the centering countries and boost source economy productivity. Brain exchange. It occurs when the loss of native born workers is offset by an equivalent inflow of highly skilled foreign workers. A given source country may exchange highly skilled migrants with one or many foreign countries. Next is the brain globalization. Some level of skilled mobility is needed to participate in the global economy. Multinational corporations and the forces of globalization necessarily require international mobility. And the last term that Lowell and Finlay mentioned are the term brain export. It is defined as a strategy to educate and export highly skilled workers to gain economic feedback. In some cases, developing countries choose to educate and export their highly skilled workers either in bilateral contract programs or in free grant immigration. The strategy aims to improve the national balance sheet through the return of earnings and the return of more experienced workers or through remittances. Technology educated from a given country who immigrated. Applying the data gained, there are two transfer and investment. Now let us discuss the brain drain in Pakistan. Literature were reviewed to develop and understand the magnitude of brain drain in Pakistan. Causes or the push and pull factors and the various measures at international and international levels to tackle this issue were reviewed from different resources. Reviewed studies were divided into three parts: magnitude of magnitude of Pakistan brain drain, the causes of brain drain, and the various attempts to stop this issue domestically in the Pakistan context and internationally. The magnitude of Pakistan brain drain. Several studies have documented the loss of skilled Pakistani qualified through immigration, although precise numbers of overseas skilled Pakistanis in terms are not identified, the following UNESCO statement highlights the magnitude and impact of the problem. UNESCO 127th Executive Conference discussed the highly skilled immigration migration rate of Pakistan increased by more than 50% from 6.1 in 1990 to 9.2 in 2000. During the period 1961 to 1976, the highest number of migrating skilled personnel to the US and UK or Canada came from Asia. Since 1971, the qualified migrants comprising of engineers, doctors, IT specialists, and other professionals are trained by government financial resources. A very small percentage of the age group is enrolled in institutions of higher learning. Also, there is a shortage of institutions providing quality education. With the migration of doctors, engineers, and teachers and the other professionals, educational, education, industrial, and constructional fields uh, are badly affected. Migration trends show that the failure of the government to provide sufficient opportunities and incentives to retain its qualified workers. Now, I will be discussing the causes of brain drain in Pakistan. Normally, causes of outflow of talented immigrants for developed market economies are covered in general by means of push-pull model. Push and pull factors regarding brain drain appear to be rooted in the unequal economic development of the immigration and the immigration countries. And from the different resources, these are the push factors that we came up with. The Aga Khan Medical University conducted a study revealing that a significant portion of students with 95% from AKU and 95% from BU express a desire to immigrate. This inclination is attributed to the factors such as poor salary, poor quality of training, and work environment. Meanwhile, Said Jafar Askari highlights the pervasive impact of terrorism and economic crisis, categorizing them as the primary forces compelling highly qualified individuals to depart the country. He notes a substantial trend where thousands of MBBS graduates opt to pursue more promising professional opportunities abroad. Rahim delves into multifaceted reasons propelling individuals to seek opportunities overseas. These include the allure of better jobs, a scarcity of opportunities for highly skilled labor, a high unemployment rate among qualified workers, and the deliberate maintenance of low salaries to adhere to an egalitarian income policy. Mohsin Ali further expands on the push factors, delineating economic considerations such as job satisfaction, a progressive academic environment, better pay, and service conditions. Simultaneously, he underscores the lack of financial and academic incentives, including the pursuit of a better life and higher education, coupled with the absence of research institutions and political instability. Now, here are the pull factors. According to Nasir Nadim and Dr. Mohammed Ashfaq's observations on the pull factors of immigration for talented Pakistani workers, they underscore several compelling aspects. Firstly, foreign countries offer abundant resources for research, fostering an environment conducive to intellectual exploration. Additionally, higher salary levels for researchers in recipient countries become a significant draw, providing not only financial rewards but also recognition of moreover, the allure of life-changing experiences and academic enhancement stands out, promising a bright career trajectory along with a spectrum of economical, social, intellectual, and personal benefits. These benefits extend to better living facilities, uh, including education, housing for their families. Differential in salaries and living conditions between their home country and a destination further heightens the attractiveness of seeking opportunities abroad.
Good day, everyone. I am Rocky Perales, And for this part of the research, I am going to present to you the methods of the research used. So study design. The study explores brain drain in Pakistan using a qualitative research design employing random sampling and judgmental techniques. It considers respondents from various educational disciplines, addressing the issues in an academically representative manner. Data was collected through questionnaires, interviews, observation, personal communication, and various tools. Next is the sample and population. Population comprises all immigrants going abroad through immigration consultancies in Peshawar. The second part of the population includes directors/heads of educational institutions of higher studies in the University of Peshawar. The reason for including faculty members is to address this issue in an academic way. The age range from immigrants is 25 to 35 years old, and for faculty members, it is 40 to 60 years old. The next is investigative techniques. Investigative techniques applied for gathering data included interviews, behavioral observation, and questionnaires containing both close-ended and open-ended items. Both open and close-ended questions were used for an interview. Next is data collection. Questionnaires were distributed among 15 immigration consultancies and 7 head of the program departments at the University of Peshawar. Distribution was done by visiting departments before scheduling time for interviews and meetings regarding immigration consultancies. Data were collected from 40 immigrants holding the desired academic qualifications. Descriptive techniques were applied for the analysis of data. The next part is the limitations. The study focuses on understanding the immigration of intellectuals with challenges arising from unavailable real numbers of students and scholars abroad. The study examines the immigrations of intellectuals in Peshawar, focusing on immigration consultancies with 15 participants. Challenges include limited student and scholar numbers and reluctance from highly qualified individuals to share data. Factors like reliability concerns and non-cooperative attitudes of immigrants in responsible positions affect the analysis. Findings are primarily based on primary data and field surveys. The next part of this research report is results. So for table 1, here is the immigration consultancies taken as a sample. Table 2, list of social sciences departments in the University of Peshawar taken as a sample. Moving on to conclusion. Brain drain in Pakistan is a complex issue with limited data on skilled workers, particularly in science and technology. Economic challenges and better job opportunities abroad drive talented youths to emigrate, necessitating tailored economic and financial schemes. The lack of career guidance and counseling services, lack of a merit system, and insufficient respect for talent contribute to the problem. To counteract the loss of qualified workers abroad, the study suggests launching special schemes, encouraging projects, and emphasizing good practices in human resource management. Findings. So for the findings, the research is separated or divided into two main parts, the immigrants data and the referrers data. Number one in the immigrants data, reasons for leaving Pakistan, economic factor, political situation prevailing, family consideration, to improve their academic qualification, for a better job, research work, and good living standards. So, still on the immigrants data, confident about getting jobs on return. 32% of immigrants are quite confident that they will not find job after return, whereas 50% of the immigrants are not confident about their future careers, and the remaining 18% of the immigrants are in doubtful condition. Next in the immigrants data is the intentions of return to their homeland. So according to statistics, 35% of the immigrants want to return, 40% of the immigrants do not want to come back, and the rest of the qualified skilled workers are not sure whether they would return or not. The next is measures that has to be taken to make them stay in Pakistan. First is availability of job is a measure which can stop their migration. The next is research facilities to be provided, overcoming of economical problem, secure working environment, quality education, and developmental opportunities to be provided for them. Next thing on findings on the immigrants' data is the impact of career guidance and counseling on on brain drain. Career guidance and counseling is education in educational institutions steer students towards optimal career development, reducing brain drain. These services assist in choosing a profession, understanding personal strengths, and adapting to surroundings. Counseling provides qualified advice for crucial life decisions, creating a strong link between brain drain and effective career guidance. Next is solutions to stop brain drain as per skilled worker. First is employments to be provided suited to their qualification. Basic facilities, including health, education, and security. Educational reforms, secure working environment, research facilities, and good working environment. Fair recruitment and promotion system, economic problems to be resolved, proper encouragement and better academic and professional opportunities, and awareness campaigns. The other part of the findings, which is the reverse data. So, number one, the reasons for brain drain: professional isolation, general job dissatisfaction, poor economic returns, dissatisfaction with social/slash political conditions, insecurity of life, family consideration, lack of proper planning for manpower, and lack of opportunities for development. The next is remittances and brain drain. So according to a study, next is remittances and brain drain. 61% of the professors suggest remittances can never be a substitute for brain drain, while 24% of the professors think remittances may be substitute for brain drain. 5% of the chairman considers remittances are a substitute for economy, not brain drain. Next is brain drain can be controlled by restriction on immigration of intellectuals, tax applied by source countries, initiate attract projects for skilled migrants. The next finding on the reverse data is the retention should be provided through educational/slash economic support, developmental/slash recreational, career building programs. Next is reasons for dissatisfaction among youth. Number one is home environment. The second is social instability. Third is lack of guidance and counseling services at educational institutions. And lastly, involvement in political affairs. Next findings on reverse data is how overseas intelligentsia could be attracted from abroad. Number one, by providing better working condition, by stoppage of nepotism, by providing high jobs suitable for their qualification, becoming loyal and truthful in their commitments through economical support, improved social/slash political stability, economic returns should be balanced, respecting talent, providing business opportunities, and lastly, offering attractive packages. The next is solutions to combat brain drain. These are results from professors' data. By stopping political corruption, providing better work environment and working facilities, better economic return should be provided at their country of origin. The next is equal opportunities provided to talented youth. The next is adaptation of merit system, keeping social behavior towards qualified persons, greater job opportunities and job security, justice in rules and law, respect for talent, research facilities, and proper assistance in researches. So the next is what are attractive for Pakistanis overseas. The first is higher wages and income, greater job mobility, professional/slash career development, degree demand, social security and job security, modern educational system, prestige of foreign training as a reason to go abroad. Next part of the research is the recommendations. The first recommendation is quality education to be provided in our educational institutions. Respect should be appreciated as well as scholarships. Economic supports program should be initiated for the poor talented students. In the recruitment selection, scholarship promotion standards should be set which should be applicable equally and uniformly to all level of people without discrimination and nepotism. The last is quality education must be provided along with research facilities. The next recommendation is manpower planning. UNESCO's 127th Executive Conference emphasizes manpower planning in education, addressing brain drain challenges. Content, curricula, and training policies must be tailored to ensure personnel absorption across diverse societies and sectors. Next is retention through economic, developmental, economic/developmental, recreational/educational programs. Enhancing educational opportunities and training quality can reduce the need for studying abroad, utilizing bilateral aid programs and international fellowship and prioritizing favorable employment conditions. Next recommendation is developmental opportunities along with fair merit system. So opportunities for development, recreational activities to explore their talent, and fair merit system. The next recommendation is secure working environment. The next is measuring measures that need to be taken to bring back Pakistani intelligentsia from abroad by initiating attractive projects, by restricting and apply taxes on them, economic returns must be balanced, business opportunities, and offer attractive packages. Next is policy level intervention. Necessary budget allocations for education sector, initiate programs/projects for encouraging talented youth, set mechanisms for getting help from overseas Pakistanis. The Intergovernmental Committee for Migration should be in the framework of its possibilities, pursues its activities for the return of the talent. The next is lastly is as suggested by the UNESCO 127th Executive Conference in developing countries, students who are deputed abroad in a way that they fit with the requirements of the home country. They have clear goal in their mind and a stake in returning back to their positions. Next is teachers' role. Assist uh, Another recommendation is to assist students in a variety of information about themselves, their values, skills, and interests, occupations, trainings, and career education services and resources. Provide them concrete examples of relevant theoretical ideas from occupational settings. Next recommendation is proper career guidance and counseling facilities from primary to higher level. Next is to impose tax on Pakistani professionals working in foreign countries. Developed and developing countries work jointly for compensation of their qualified talented workers. And lastly, we can get benefit from overseas intelligentsia by encouraging and giving incentives, benefits, and encouragement to overseas diasporas and initiating joint diasporas network. That is it for this research presentation. Thank you very much.